Guys, the Chickens here. We're back today with another home gym video. So in today's video, what I want to talk about was mistakes that people typically make when they decide to build or are thinking of starting a home gym. I don't like where the camera is, so come with me. We're going to change the angle. The biggest mistake, first off, right off the bat, is if you actually like working out alone and working out in your house. So, people typically will say or suggest or, just in general, like just try working out just on your own in your house with some stuff that you have and just kind of see how you like it. But that's kind of hard to do without having, everything that you would have once you get it, fully set up. Like you're not going to, be able to put a squat rack and a barbell and a bunch of plates on and then just kind of, go from there. And doing anything else, like if you're doing jumping jacks or something like that, it's like, yeah, that's, that kind of gives you the idea. But I think you should know, like, you should be pretty certain, going into it without having to, experiment. I mean, if you go to the gym and the most fun part of it for you is like seeing everyone and talking to everyone and, you really feed off other people's energy and things like that, then maybe it doesn't make sense for you. But, yeah, at the same time, like you can have your friends over and you can work out depending on the size of your gym. So it's not like you always have to be by yourself, but that's definitely something to take into consideration before you start. So that would be a mistake that some people would make where they love the idea of a home gym, but then it's like they start working out and it's like, well, I don't really have the same motivation. I made a whole video on that before, just motivation for working at home in general, what it's like. But yeah, so make sure that is not something that bothers you, more or less. And yeah, it's definitely different. I find it's like for it doesn't bother me for like 90% of the workout. If I'm doing a top set, I find I have a little bit less kind of excitement, I guess, because it's definitely gives you energy to just have people around in general, right? So there's that. I don't think it really, it's kind of just like, it goes to the thing of just like get your mind right for big lifts, right? That's really all it is. It just takes like a little bit more discipline, a little bit more drive to get into that right mindset to be able to perform at your best. So that's probably the biggest thing to take into consideration. The other thing is don't go crazy, unless you're really familiar with all the equipment that you want and you've used it all before. Don't feel like you have to build everything at once. I kind of did that. I kind of didn't do that. I'll talk about that. So, it's definitely fun, right? It's definitely fun buying gym equipment and, getting new stuff and things like that. I love opening packages and that kind of thing. But, yeah, you should have a pretty good idea or have used some stuff before you buy it, because there's always that risk, right, where you get something in, it's like, oh, I actually don't like this, or it doesn't feel the way I thought it was going to, or you just simply, you like it, but you just don't end up using it that much. So there's a couple things I did that with. The biggest one was the Scout Hyper. Now, I had I forget what you call them, like a back extension machine at the gym that I used all the time. So then I looked at the Scout Hyper. I was like, well, I've always wanted to be able to do reverse hypers, always had back pain, blah, blah, blah. So I thought that would be a no-brainer. But just for whatever reason, I didn't end up using it a lot, so I ended up selling it. Luckily, right now, everything's worth so much, I got pretty well all my money back. I think I lost like $20 on it or something, like even with shipping and taxes. So that wasn't too big of a deal, but definitely stuff like that, especially in terms of accessory pieces. Now, one of the things I was most excited for when I was building the gym was the belt squat here. This is something my gym didn't have and I always wanted to use. I thought for me it would be great because when I squat, I typically use, if you guys have seen my videos, I typically lean over a lot more. I use a lot more back than legs. So this machine basically isolates your legs and takes the lower back out of it. So it's great for training around back pain and it's great for just building your legs in general. So I thought this would be perfect for me. And I do like it, but I definitely don't use it as much as I thought that I would. I find it's perfect for warm-ups, and it's great as a kind of an alternative for a leg press or leg extensions, but I thought I was going to do it all the time, and I use it when I should use it, but I don't do a lot of extra work on it, which I thought I was going to when I first got it. I thought I'd be using it like every day for rehab and stuff like that, but yeah, yeah. So I do like it, but definitely don't use it as much as I thought I would. So it's just, be sure that you like something and you're going to use it in your program. That's definitely the biggest thing for me is, I like to, just the way that I train, I like to follow a workout, like very specifically. And, if I'm going out and I'm getting, a safety squat bar and chains and things like that, I might not use it that much just because, it's not really the training that I do. So make sure it matches up with your training. Yeah, so that's the biggest thing, motivation, buying the right equipment for you. And yeah, other than that, just kind of realize the space that you have to work with. It might seem like a great idea to build a home gym, and then it's like you start getting stuff in, you get a squat, like have a like a full design before you start ordering stuff, because you don't want to order something and it doesn't fit. Like, you always see these pictures where it's like these people have these 90-inch like rogue racks or lat pull downs or something, and they're like cut up like near the ceiling, or they just don't fit. So make sure that you're buying stuff for the space that you have, and you're not going overboard, and everything kind of lines up well. I've definitely run into that a little bit with some of the stuff that I've got. It's like, oh, I got room for that, and then it's like, okay, it's getting a little bit cluttered in here. So I sold a few things, and I was able to figure that out. But that's something that I wish I'd kind of organized a little bit better before I just went out and started buying stuff. Yeah, so those are probably the three biggest mistakes. Flooring would be a big one. So a lot of people, when I did the same thing when I went out, and I was looking for, you type in on Google gym flooring, and the first thing that pops up are those cheap like foam mats from Amazon or whatever. They're not that great. They compress a lot. They're not that they're not really going to protect your floor that much. Like if you drop a plate, it could still crack or dent or whatever. So typically people, when they're building a home gym, they go with what's called horse stall mats, and they work good. Don't get me wrong. They are a pain to move around and stuff, but once you get them in, I mean, they're solid and they're not going anywhere. They're cheap. They do a great job. It's really hard to recommend anything other than horse stall mats unless you want to spend more and get basically it's the same thing, same thickness of rubber, but it's got like different colors and stuff. So it's hard to go against horse stall mats. It's kind of really the best option. I mean, it's the best in terms of the product, and it's the best in terms of price. So it's really hard to go against that. Like a 4 foot by 6 foot mat, 3/4 inches. They're about 100 pounds, and they run you. Well, I think they upped the prices, so they're like $70 a piece. But I mean, still compare that to anything else, like the price isn't even close. So, yeah, flooring, that's the way to go. Make sure that your space is adequate for a gym. If you're going to be deadlifting and squatting heavy and potentially dropping hundreds and hundreds of pounds off your back, you don't want to be lifting like in an upstairs bedroom or something like that. Like, sure, it'll probably be fine, but you are going to damage the house structurally over time if you're continually, because the way like the floors are kind of specced out. It's like you have 3,000 pounds, from what I understand anyways. You have about 3,000 pounds, say, just for a 10 by 15 floor or whatever like that, 10 by 15 room. You got about 3,000 pounds. That's designed to be spread out over the floor. That's not in one place. So say if you're dropping like a 600-pound deadlift, your floor is not spec'd to like continue to keep up with that. So what you do is you'd build a platform, and that's definitely going to help. You get some stall mats and plywoods. That's going to absorb a lot of the load. But if you're doing this, it's assuming that you own the house and you're probably going to have it forever, right? So it's not ideal to be doing that when you're not on basically your home's foundation. Anything other than that, you just want to make sure that the framing and the structure is good, because the last thing you want to do is start destroying your house by having a home gym. So my phone is full. That is going to wrap up the video today. Make sure you like, found it interesting, entertaining, or informative. And what's the next one, guys? Check it out.